From the NHL's Western Conference Final, Avalanche and Oilers. Welcome to Got Your Back, presented by DLR Vinyl Products. Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so we ask you, why would you build a wood fence or deck? Do it once with high-quality, maintenance-free vinyl. Call my brothers, Rick or Rob, at DLR Vinyl Products. They have locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. It is patio season, deck season, backyard season. If you're looking around your yard thinking, maybe time for an upgrade, give my brothers a call. Fantastic maintenance-free products that you will not regret putting in. I've mooched a pile of the product off the fellas, and I love it. Would have been happy to pay full price. All right, time to get to the fellas. Jason Strudwick. And okay, if you're only listening to this podcast, you need to track it down on video because we've got TRyan joining us from the East Coast, but this is classic TR. I don't even know what to say about this TR. Like, throw some lights on or something. There you are. Red light
best
district,
right
TRyan.
The best you got. If you want my services, then this is what the price you got to pay. Sometimes you get some off-putting light.
Yeah.
Are you on a stakeout?
Yes, actually, I am. What if the answer was yes? What would you say then?
It's like, I can't wait for you to say, I see dead people. You know, like
that too. I just deal with that.
He's doing research for his next role as an extra in a detective movie.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, buddy. We know you've got Penny Lane sleeping inside, and your commitment to the podcast, the hours you put in to be part of this podcast, it is absolutely noble. And so, just so everybody knows, went out to his car and sitting in the car, knocking off a podcast at what time? 10, 11, 12, 1. Is it 2 a.m. there right now, buddy?
It's 4 minutes to 2 a.m., my friend.
Well. We appreciate it, man. We got tons to talk about, guys. Let's get to the breakdown brought to you by Park Mazda, where the newly redesigned 2022 CX-5 has arrived. Check out the brand new all-wheel drive sport design trim with its turbocharged engine and see the available colors and trims in stock at parkmazda.ca. I don't really even know where to start with this. We had controversy. We had offense. We had no defense. We had goaltenders being pulled. We had all sorts of stuff going on. I'm going to start with my headline, and Struds, I'll throw it to you. Mm-hmm. The Avalanche Stars showed up on time. The Oilers Stars did not. And as a result, they were chasing that game all night long and never really caught up to it. Even though they made a game of it, they never really caught up to it. 10 seconds into the game, Connor McDavid's already lost a face-off and turned a puck over to Nathan MacKinnon. And it just was the way that first period went. 0 shot attempts for McDavid and Draisaitl after 20 minutes, while MacKinnon and company are on the board, and they were chasing it.
I make notes during the games and I was trying to sort my thoughts out after. And basically I just wrote down, this was crazy. I didn't really know what to make of this. I mean, obviously the Oilers, and Mike Smith kind of joked about it in the post game, that they don't like first games, and it wasn't a good first game. The Kings game was okay. The game one against the Flames was a bit of a mess. But what's crazy tonight is they still could have won this game. The disallow, or the goal that was allowed, all that stuff. I get it. It's a storyline, but for me, the overarching theory was the Oilers' inability to defend. It wasn't there. And I really thought this was going to be a bit of a lower scoring. I didn't expect this many goals. So, TR, I always resort back to defending. You score 6 goals, you should win the game. They did not defend. And here we are sitting on the outside of just an absolute gong show of a first game. Fans loved it. I think the coaches would hate it.
Yeah, I was surprised. Again, it had elements of exhibition written all over it. It's such obvious mistakes. So if nothing else, it's not predictable. But it's the same thing. The Oilers had so many flaws, I wouldn't know where to begin. But if I'm the Oilers, I'm saying we were that poor, and we nearly won again. Yeah. They nearly won that game. That's what's alarming. If I'm Colorado, I'm not very happy. They just happened to be on the right side of a coin that was all bad. It wasn't a great game from either end. If I'm the Oilers, I've got to take a positive from that. It's we didn't play great. In fact, we played awful, but we nearly came out of it with a win. What can we do? Very similar to the last series.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's kind of one of those games, guys, where there's a winner and a loser, but everybody's walking out kind of pissed off, I think, just about the way it went. Like at some point, you got to buckle it down and you got to defend. And there just wasn't a lot of that on either side. We'll get to the controversial call in a minute, and we'll dig right into that. But I want to talk a little bit about the first period and the speed that the Avalanche brought. Like everybody knew that Colorado was going to bring all kinds of speed and skill. But to me, I thought that the Oilers, Darnell Nurse in particular, and I know he's playing injured, I don't think they did a very good job of handling and adjusting to that speed in the early going. Like Nathan MacKinnon just blazed through those guys. Superstars are going to make great plays, but I don't know, Struds. The Oilers were expecting the speed. I don't think they handled the speed any good at all.
Yeah, I think the Colorado is a much faster team than the Flames. No disrespect to the players on that team, but overall their team speed's much higher. And Darnell Nurse talked a bit about it in the post-game comments. He said that they've got to get in front of it, and what that means as a D-man is that you've got to get yourself up the ice, to close that gap. So the quicker you engage a player that's trying to attack you, it slows them down a little bit or makes them slow down a bit or lets them get to top speed. And then you got to match their speed. And specifically the goal where MacKinnon goes around Nurse. I mean, I think we saw, some of the issues of his health. He's not a guy that gets beat like that. And so it's a little bit unfair to maybe be critical there. But the Avalanche were skating downhill, specifically for the first period. After they got scored on, they come back and score. And I thought, I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 minutes towards the end of the period, they were all over the Oilers. It was like a gong show, but they kind of, they try to hang in there a little bit. So, for the D-men, they now know the level they have to be at, and what they have to play, and they'll watch the tape. Dave Manson's a smart guy. And even though you're not fast, you can slow them down by getting up into their face sooner. So I think there'll be adjustment. It's not easy to make, but it's one that is an adjustment that is a must make adjustment. What did you make of the speed, TR?
Well, I tell you, it's a different kind of speed because it's accompanied with big time power. And watching MacKinnon is, to me, it's every bit. Watching his power is every bit as impressive as watching McDavid's quick hands or his speed. And a lot of them are built like that. Shout out to St. John's, Newfoundland's own Alex Newhook. Alex isn't a big guy. Same thing though. He's a powerful skater. I find it's something to deal with, and you can't really be snoozing at all. And remember, we said last time that some people come out and they say, "Well, we weren't ready tonight." I've never seen MacKinnon say that, or he might play poorly sometimes, but when he comes out, he's ready to go, and
he's got the legs going.
He's got those legs going. He does, and you got to be ready for that. And not only the speed and the power, he might hit you, he might turn it over. He's always thinking, and it seems he's ferociously passionate about getting there. So I guess you got to match that. And to me, you come at it again, very, very similar to last series. I hope I can stop making that obvious comparison, but same thing. You got to come out, match fire with fire. Don't be stupid, but you can't back down at all and be changing up. I would come at them just like they're coming at us.
Struds, I want to throw this at you because you're the D-man. I thought there was an obvious change that needed to be made partway through that game, and I felt the Oilers missed the boat not making it. I thought they should have swapped Kulak onto the CC pairing and matched him against MacKinnon. Mm-hmm. I thought Darnell Nurse wasn't skating well enough, and his injury was very evident tonight. CC and Kulak have been very good together. I thought Kulak had great mobility tonight. I was waiting for them to make that switch. Mm-hmm. Darnell Nurse can't play against Nathan MacKinnon if he's hurt. He can't.
Yeah, he can't skate. You can't move. And, this is not a normal Darnell Nurse. I think Darnell Nurse usually his mobility and his power. You're talking about powerful skater. He's a powerful skater. And he gets around the ice really quickly. That's one of his greatest assets. So, that's something that I think they have to look at to just take that burden a little bit off Darnell Nurse. Look at the minutes. They're pretty much spread out evenly across all 6 guys. But it's the first game. You get into that first game and it's easy to say, well, we played them well the last couple in the exhibition and this and that. And I think they did. But when you get in the playoffs, it's a much different beast, and the intensity cranks up and everyone skates faster. So, when they jump on the ice for the next game, Thursday night, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But it's not the same from series to series. Nothing's the same, and you make adjustments. And for the players, you can be no ego. It's whatever's best for the team, not necessarily what's best for you all the time.
TR, I'm going to object to that viewpoint you just gave us there, bud. Like, we don't need to be looking up at you like that from what it felt like what the phone was in your crotch there. Like, I don't ever want to stare up into your eyes like that, buddy, ever again.
Never again.
Get lost in those things.
Never again. Okay, let's get to the offside or lack thereof. I'll get your guys' take after watching all the replays and everything you saw on TV, and then I'll tell you what I experienced in the building. TR, start with you. What did you make of it, buddy?
Well, I'll just sum it up. Okay, I know the argument. I know what people are saying, why it would have been onside. So without boring you and getting into that, my thing is that if that's the case, if he really didn't have the puck, if we're really talking about waiting till the one player gets out of the zone until you touch it again, then that would have to be consistent. Now, I've seen dozens. Without it, Elliot Friedman, I saw, pointed out a few examples on TV of times where, it's been called this way, but dozens. I mean, that's just having the puck. Think about it. Think about every offsides that you see get called back. If the guys, and I've seen them, I've gone over it. I don't have any examples because I'm sitting in my car right now, but there have been all kinds that if you're not actually touching the puck, but the player comes out, it's called offsides. I'm just saying be consistent, because if that right there, if that play wasn't offsides, then I don't even know why we have, I don't know why we have video replay. Like I said, give the officials a bit of a raise, maybe put the money something else, maybe minor hockey, female hockey, whatever you're going to do, put the money somewhere else, because if that wasn't offsides, then boy, I don't know the rules of hockey, and we're in a problem.
Yeah, I was watching with friends, and in real time, I said that's offside. I saw Nikushkin coming out, and I said I think that's offside right before they even scored. Now he scored 2 seconds later, and then I would have bet my house that was going to be called back. I don't understand how it cannot be considered offside. I recognize he had full control of the puck, but he was the one who directed it in there, and immediately after got possession, regained, but he got it back on his stick and he shoots it top shelf on Smith. And that's a huge swinging point in the game. And then they downplayed it. Everyone downplayed it, but guys, if I'm with you, if that is an offside, I don't know what offside is. The player is clearly in the zone when he's it'd be one thing if, let's say, it bounced off McKinnon. It bounced off McKinnon on the way out, and then Makar grabs it in the same type of situation they're talking about. But he's the one who's directed it into the zone. I don't know. I'm not even talking as a Oiler fan. I was talking about a fan of hockey. I do not get it. I do not agree with that at all. But I also didn't agree with that. I thought it should have been a goal for the Flames as well. So
you're calling it down. You're calling it down the middle, Struddy. You're not being a fan here. Listen, I actually went into the replay booth with Stephen Walkham.
Yeah.
And George Peros was there, and we went through it. There's a reverse angle where they believe that it properly illustrates that Makar touched the puck, pushed it into the zone. And after he pushed it into the zone, he removed his stick, lifted his stick a little bit as if to say, not touching it, because he knew Nichushkin needed to tag up. As soon as Nichushkin tagged up, he re-engaged with the puck. So what they're saying is that Mikhail Makar had the presence of mind in a split second to have made that play, crossed the blue line, removed his stick. A player that was not in his direct vision tags up, re-engages with the puck, and then goes in and makes that phenomenal shot. I don't believe Cale Makar knew there was a player that was there that needed to change up. And I don't believe that he removed his stick enough to constitute lack of possession. I think the player maintained possession of the puck, and I don't think that he did that on purpose. They disagree. They feel Cale Makar made a brilliant play. They gave him credit in that moment. He is a smart enough player. He did that on purpose. Now, they said, we've seen other players do this. It just doesn't usually show up on a review. It's not like one like this has been reviewed before. So they give credit to the player for pushing it in, backing off, re-engaging with the puck. I think they're giving him a little bit too much credit. And I believe after the game tonight, Makar said that he did do it on purpose, which of course is the right thing to say post-game. But I don't know, TR, you're looking at me in that red lighting of yours, licking your lips like you're just not buying a second of that.
I'm not at all. Because it would have to be consistent. How many times? If you're carrying the puck is off your stick more than it's on your stick. Now, if you're the NHL and you're just going to draw all these assumptions, I mean, you could say that about anything then. The skate goal the other night comes down to an assumption. That tonight comes out. So why? All I'm saying is that why have the cameras? Why stop the game? Because constantly, every time, there's whether it's video replay or not. Are we anywhere further into the future? Has it solved anything? It's supposed to be black and white, and it isn't. And what you're telling me is that in a fraction of a second, they're assuming all this that goes on in the player's head when really it was just tick, tick. It was tick, 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 tick. Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? Clearly Makar is that kind of player. I mean, had it been CC, then maybe we wouldn't do that. But we just know that Makar was thinking that, and, bravo to Makar. I just find it silly. You could say that about anything, right? It's a judgment call. I can protect my viewpoint in any, if I want to say that. Well, it's not offsides because Jeff Carter, he's a great player. He's been around for 10 years, so it's not offsides. I mean, that's silly.
It's a dangerous game, and I agree with you, TR, from your U-571 submarine. The reality is that if you're trying to think about what a player was thinking in a moment, it's a dangerous game because you're giving too much credit to the player. And I think Cale Makar is an amazing player. But to make the assumption, to use your words, TR, that you think that, or that they thought the player knew what was going on in that moment. He didn't see him. He didn't see him. There's no way. Because if he did see him, guess what? He wouldn't have crossed over that early. He didn't slow down at all when he got that puck and went over. So, there's a lot of other things going in that game. But what happens now is that opens a whole can of worms, because now every time there's a call, an offside call, the coach will be looking for. So did this happen? Did this player happen? And that's, I don't like reviews. I do not like reviews because you're never going to get it right. This isn't a home run or not home run. This is a lot of feeling of what's going on, interpretation of the rule. And I don't think that we'll see this reviewed again by the general managers committee and the players committee in the offseason.
TR, you're looking so shady, man. Like your eyes are kind of beady. You're looking around side to side. You get this red light. You just look so sketchy right now. You just look like a criminal.
It's giving me some ideas. I kind of like the look, actually.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's a good look. The tooth's out. And by the way, we also need to specify here, guys. TR, you say offsides, plural. Struds, I think we say offside. Mm-hmm. TR, do you understand it to be offsides?
Maybe that's
is that an East Coast
part of the Newfoundland dialect? I don't know. I say offsides.
When you're
that's offsides.
When you're a big actor, you can call stuff anything you want, right? That's kind of how it, right? Yeah, that's how it works. ATR.
I'm an actor, so the way I say it is correct.
That's right, 100%.
You're taking artistic license over the word, and I love it. Yeah. Struds, I was busy post-game, so you dug into the Average Joe's sound box. Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park. Great spot to watch the games. And I guarantee you that Adam, the owner of Average Joe's, was furious with the way that review call went. Yeah. Guarantee it. I know Adam, he's a big fan. Couldn't have been happy. Struddy, what did you pull out of the Average Joe's sound box tonight, my friend?
They were pretty short. All the players and the coach is pretty short. And I get it. It's a frustrating game. But, let's start with Jay Woodcroft. And he was asked in many different ways, and almost in many different languages, about, how much that non-call and the offside affected the game and what he thought maybe went right or wrong after that.
We found a way to chip away and get back in the game, but I'm going to keep going back to it. We didn't win or lose the game because of that call. We gave up too many goals against, and we got some work to do to clean it up.
Yeah. There's a coach, sorry to jump in. There's a coach that to me understands it. I think, if they get out of that period, I think it'd be 2-2 if they get in, because you remember that's a 2-goal swing. That's the goal that's counted, make it 3-2, then the power play goal after. So a big one. But, it's much like what I think about the Flames and their disallowed goal in that game 5 against the Oilers. it wasn't the deciding factor in that series. And this wasn't the deciding factor in the game. There's a lot of other things I think the Oilers have to look at before they dial any attention onto that play, because you can't control that play, but their defensive play, they're kind of their start, even though they scored first. I didn't think they were really going after in that first period. So TR, what do you think of Woodcroft? Is he on the right track about what he thinks his team needs to worry about as opposed to the offside call or non-call?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm commenting on the offside call or the non-call just from a hockey perspective. The Oilers deserve to lose. And what's more alarming about the play is that there wasn't much time left in the period. So it's one thing. I mean, you tell a peewee team, let's take the momentum away. If we score or you get scored against, let's settle things down for the next minute. So not only did they come back and score immediately after the goal, but there was only so much time to do so. It was like a double breakdown, and it happened 4 or 5 times during the game, following not only a big goal, but maybe a big hit. It's like the Oilers followed it with absolute poison, with exhibition play, and it's like the players weren't sure of themselves. And you could tell that. And there's the Jekyll and Hyde. Because when the Oilers are on, I know you could kind of say that about any team, but I think the Oilers, it's magnified even more. Like when they're not on, well, they're poison. Like they're going to, it seems that they're turning it over. They're not thinking. Even Kane before that goal, I've said it. I don't know what the analytics are on this, but even before the goal he scored right off the bat, he turned it over on the wall. He's been awful getting it out of his own zone. I know the 13 goals and everything, but the Oilers, it's not just like straight up defense. It's offensive decisions that come back to bite them, and it's all over the ice. There's a lot to work on, but they've done it before. No reason to think they can't do it again.
Yeah, their ability to go from rotten one game to all world the next. Like this team has the ability to bounce back. Mike Smith has the ability to bounce back. I want to give a little bit of credit here to the Avalanche defense, in particular, Makar and Taves. We knew they were going to see a lot of Connor McDavid. I just thought they did a really good job of containing him. I mean, McDavid, he was trying for his looks, but man, the Avalanche did a good job, Struds, of closing on him, reducing his space. There was one play I saw where the Oilers had like a typical breakout, a controlled breakout, and McDavid went blitzing up the ice, full speed, right? Looking for the pass across and then the stretch pass. Nate McKinnon was right next to him, stride for stride for stride for stride. McDavid didn't gain an ounce of advantage of him, and it just completely took him out of the play. I think they did a really good, conscientious job on McDavid tonight, especially early, and I thought it really showed to me that was a formula they can say, there it is right there.
Yeah, but we've talked about that before, and you have to pick up. You start defending in the offensive zone. That's where it has to be. It feels safe. And a lot of, people are listening. It makes sense. You're like, okay, I'll just back off, and I won't get beat by his speed because I'm going to back off to the red line, to the blue line, to the top of the circles. Then I'll be sitting on the goalie's lap. The problem is with all that speed, a guy like McKinnon or in this case, McDavid is going to pick up so much speed, or should I say with all that space, you can pick up so much speed. By the time he gets to you, it doesn't matter, what you're doing. So, I thought they did a good job of really checking him early. And that makes a big difference. And even just denying the puck getting to him or make it harder for the puck to get to him, it's frustrating. And, Connor played through it. He's used to it. This guy's been dealing with it for 20 years. He's been playing hockey, but it is a really good tactic. That's how you defend speed, is you pick it up early, check it early, TR.
You got us, TR? You still hear us, pal?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We had a little pause there.
I was absorbing the information.
That's okay. You take whatever pregnant pause you need to put together those brilliant and humorous thoughts of yours. What did you think about that element of it? The job that they did on Connor specifically, on McDavid specifically?
Well, I thought for the most part it was all right. The same thing. Their defense was kind of shoddy at times. It was the better of two poisons, but I thought they did a good job whereby it's not like they were in his face after they're scrumming it up, trying to get under his skin, spitting at him. Yeah. It's not like they needed Kadri to be doing what Kachuk last series, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure they will, but it just seemed like their overall approach to it was, to angle him off, match his speed. They weren't intimidated by it. They sent first line against first line for much of the game anyway. So their approach to me was one of, yeah, he's good, but we got a defensive plan, and we think it's just as good, or if not better. And, they're going to match power with power. It's only game one. There's 7 games.
Yeah.
And I hate saying he, because Draisaitl as well, talk about superstars. He's every bit as impressive with his hockey IQ. And I just don't see the other thing. If there's superstars, and then there's superstars who give a shit. And you see Willie Nylander at the World Championships throwing his weight around. Makes me question when I watch him in the NHL. God, I don't know if I saw him at 4 hits the whole year. But the Oilers, right from Smith out, and again, man, I don't know. I'm just not sold on Smith. I never have been. But given that that's what you're going with, he's a very passionate player. I think he's going to come back, as is the whole team, with a different look. They always do. And they're passionate players that care. And that's a playoff mentality as well. So the Oilers are going nowhere. I think they're going to come back twice as strong.
I'm going to be fascinated to see what tweaks and adjustments Jay Woodcroft makes here, Struds, because I think standing pat probably is overlooking things. I think he's going to need to make some tweaks. I'm not even going to try and predict what he's going to do. We'll wait and see. We'll see. I don't think they're even going to skate tomorrow, so we'll just kind of wait and see what they're saying. But we'll go back to the Average Joe soundbox there, Struddy. Do we have another clip? Was it Darnell Nurse that we had?
Leon Draisaitl. So Leon was asked about the, do you take anything away from this game, knowing how close you came to winning it after kind of a rough start? What were they down 6-3?
Yeah, I mean, it's a positive that there's no quit in our game, but at this time of the year, we know that already. Obviously, we've showed it again tonight, but we don't want to be in these situations. That's not how you win hockey games this time of year. So, like I said, regroup, adjust a couple things, and we'll be better.
Yeah, he said we'll be better probably 3 times in that 5-6 minute media availability. Just said we'll be better. We'll be better. Darnell Nurse said the same thing. Mike Smith had a couple good clips tonight too, guys, where he basically just said, look, obviously we don't like game ones, and that when you're giving up touchdowns, that's not you just can't be doing that. So pretty blunt about their defensive play. And rightfully so. This team, they get themselves in trouble, man. They get into these track meets where the doors get blown off offensively. And I know they've got lots of guns, but it just really feels, Struds, like if they don't figure out a way to lock some of these games down a little bit more, they're going to have trouble, especially against a team that can match their guns. Yeah,
I mean, Avalanche have massive power. I think Mikko Rantanen had, was it one? Well, for sure one goal, maybe 1-on-1, but you don't want that guy waking up. I think he's been not sleeping. He's been unable to score. And if he gets going now, I think he's got 2 goals in this playoffs. That is a big problem, because he is a horse of a player. But I just don't think that, you ask about the tweaks just a few minutes ago. And I honestly think the tweaks is this team being better defensively. So, you can move players around. Your idea of moving Kulak and Nurse, I can get around that. But just being more aware defensively of what they're trying to do works well. And I go back to game 6 and game 7 against the Kings. Now, the Kings are not the Avs. There's no doubt about it. The Avs have way more juice. But their attention to detail and how sure they were in all the plays, like the face-off wins, TR talked about getting the pucks out on the wall, not getting beat back up the ice, protecting the middle of the ice, coming back through the middle of the ice, all that kind of stuff. Like they did such a good job. And tonight it wasn't on display. And as I just think that they're going to be so much better defensively that next game. And they have to be. It's not that they will be. They have to be better defensively. So, the adjustments, I tactically, there may be a couple, but I think it's just general approach to the game and thinking, let's try to win this thing 3-1. Like, it doesn't have to be a shootout, because scoring 6 and losing 8-6, that's hard.
TR, you've been getting a feel for the personality of this team in the playoffs. Do you have a sense of what the next game will look like for the Oilers? Do you have a feeling yet for what you think they're going to bring coming off of a game where they gave up all of this offense against?
Yeah, I think they're going to come out guns blazing, like chickens with their heads cut off. A lot of them, organized chaos. That's, to me, they're the best. Someone said the best defense is a good offense, but that's not quite what I'm getting at. But they know they scored 6 goals though. But I think when they move their feet and they're good on the forecheck, they'll draw penalties. If they get power plays, they think little things like that. Like, yes, be aware defensively. I mean, you just let in whatever it was, 8 or 9 goals. I mean, it's the NHL playoffs. That goes without saying. But they can do it. We know they can. The offense was there, and there was one sloppy play. Cassian, I think, had a breakaway. At one point at the end, it was 7-6. They nearly tied it up on a tip. I mean, the chances were there. I think when I say they have to tighten up defensively, I mean the decisions at the blue line as well. They turned it over a few times, their best players included. And it's not always, how much gas is in the tank or how much you move your legs, but sometimes it really helps. And everything from momentum to finishing those checks down low, I find it helps you get bounces and maybe even at the very least, like I said, draw a penalty. Now, it wasn't as obvious as last time as the opening game against Calgary. I thought they were really lax in that. Tonight, I just thought it was like bad plays. Like, there was some energy. It was just terrible plays. I think they'll not perfect, but they'll hone that. They'll tighten it up next game. And I think it's going to be completely different. I honestly think it's going to be low scoring next game. I do.
Mm-hmm. Listen, we've talked for 3 months now about Connor McDavid and his better defensive game and how much of a 200-foot game he's playing and how much attention to detail there is. Leon Draisaitl as well. It's been notable in their games. I don't think it was notable in this game. I thought McDavid lost coverage multiple times in the defensive zone. As I said before, I thought he backed his way into that game. The Avalanche Stars outdid the Oilers Stars right from the drop of the puck tonight. And while they were able to make a game of it, to me, all of the storylines were about the Stars coming into this game. And so coming out of it, I think that's the absolute headline. The Av Stars outplayed the Oilers Stars in game 1. And now it's up to them to try and return serve in game number 2. That was the breakdown brought to you by Park Mazda, where the newly redesigned 22 CX-5 has arrived. See the available colors and trims in stock at parkmazda.ca. TR, before we let you turn off your red light and go, we need to give you a little love, my friend. We need to give you a little bit of love because Struddy took some time and watched all 6 episodes of Shoresy and Struds.
I love it, buddy. I honestly love it. I love it. And the thing I love about there's a lot of things I love about it. I think your character is great, all that. But the sticks, the way that you guys sit around and eat the ice cream cones, and just so the passion that, and I love those drumsticks too. And the passion, then when you guys have the debate, when the owner comes in or the manager, and she's arguing with why you guys are eating the sticks. It's just, it's so simple, but brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, man. So I'm loving the show. I'm pushing on everybody I know. I'm like, you got to check this show. It's so good. So well done to you and your buddies there. It's fantastic.
Thanks a lot. My favorite is episode 6. It's like Jared Keeslow's Ode to Hockey. But people forget he played Junior A, right? Like Jared will tell you, up until he was 18, he really expected, like he said, I was going to be a hockey player. I couldn't believe when I wasn't. So that's in him. And if you're in the junior dressing room, those chirps are, I mean, it's almost more prevalent in junior than it is in pro. So he played a level that you can really see. You can see it in the show. You can see it in every little part. And not that every team has sticks, but they have something. And, when you're in the room, there's so many things that are important to each particular team that just sound like ridiculous to anybody else, but they're little nuances within each room. And, a lot of those characters, Struds, how you rib each other and they're chirps, but, it's just camaraderie and it's loving each other as a team. And I thought from the beginning, I mean, just calling these guys in from out of nowhere and what you're expecting from Shoresy, at least me being a Letterkenny fan, I was blown away. But by the end, there's only 6 episodes, but it really felt like, you'd been on a journey with these guys. Yeah. And I thought Jarrett really got the point across of what it's like to be a hockey player, at least in that final episode,
Yeah. After watching Letterkenny and Struds, I don't know how much of Letterkenny you actually saw, but Shoresy was a character in Letterkenny. Did you ever see Shoresy in the Letterkenny in that series?
I did.
So all he was, you never saw his face. All you knew was he was a super chirpy hockey player. It was foul-mouthed and vile, and he was an awesome player, but you never saw his face. And so this is the spinoff that they're basing this whole series on, this other character. And I really wondered, TR, he was kind of a one-note character in Letterkenny. That's what he was designed to be, was just a one-note character. And I thought, how are they going to make this guy lovable? Because people want to watch a series about a guy that is lovable. And I don't want to give away too much of the series because people need to just go watch it. But Struds, having seen it and learned the character from scratch, by the end of it, I mean, you really did find that character lovable, didn't you?
Oh, I think he's hilarious, and he's so good. And his interaction with the lady he's trying to woo, and the things he said he'd do.
Oh yeah,
just respectful on just for a drink with her. It's so funny, and you don't expect it because 2 scenes earlier he's tearing someone apart on the ice with what he says, and then he's trying to wheel this lady with all these kind words. Like it is. I'm telling you, I've watched it. I will rewatch it. Just to catch all the little nuances that I missed. But yeah, TR, you've been great.
Yeah.
Too, like you're acting, and I didn't know you had that in you. But it's so good. It's so the whole thing. Congratulations. It is.
You must be feeling pretty good. Sorry to interrupt you there, Struddy. Go ahead and finish your thought.
No.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It's just it kind of gives you a sense of what it's like to be a hockey player and what it feels like when you're getting, the chirping is what it's all about in the dressing room, right? And good-hearted, but still getting to the soul of you a little bit, right? And there's always a little bit of hurt soul in every chirp. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, honestly, guys, that part of it, I swear to you, it felt great, and it a lot of what you're seeing on there is fun, like because there was a lot of art imitating life, I guess you could say, because a lot of times those dressing room scenes, they'd say cut. We got our gear on. We just start shooting the shit with each other, and it just turned into the same kind of thing off camera as on. But the thing was, the depth of character of Shoresy, first of all, is something that I didn't see coming. And the way it's all put together, like it felt great. It felt like a team. Like it really did felt like we went through something together. But by the end, like I said, of episode 6, all that, the way it's all put together, from right down to the score, to the music they chose, everything, like that's not something that we saw coming, So I was
because you shoot it out of order, right? Like you shoot the whole thing out of order, so you don't really have a sense for the way it's all going to piece together in the end, eh?
No, and all I'm reading is I'm reading the script, so we can see the words that are written, and then, but until we do them, you don't really know how the scene is going to go, and that's a lot of the time, especially in those scenes with the bird, big sexy. When you're reading that, it doesn't seem as funny as when you go to do it. And immediately
the bird is awesome.
Those scenes were really hard to keep a straight face when we got the sticks going and we didn't call our mom and dad. And, and the big sexy.
You did a great job.
They were. It was really
I loved your. My favorite scene with you was when he came through the door. And Buddy was getting it on in the bedroom with the girl, and you had this look on your face, like this knowing look between the two of you of what was going on in there. Yeah, TR, it's awesome, buddy. And we could talk about it for hours and hours, but we just encourage people to check it out. Shoresy on Crave. The podcast is Tales with TR and Struddy. Every single day you are on the Jason Dreger show with you and Jason Dreger from 2 to 6 o'clock. So now that we've got all of our products plugged, you can catch me on Sports Center. Anything else, guys? We got to plug TR, your book, maybe something like that. What else?
There you go. If you want my book, send me a message, TRyan2020@gmail.com. If you want either one of my best-selling books, Tales of a First Round Nothing or Tales with TR, Fights, Film, and Folklore, shoot me a note, TRyan2020@gmail.com. And guys, I appreciate it. And just to give you a little backstory, so I'm in my car because Penny Lane's mom moved to Calgary. I'm a single dad here lately, and sometimes I didn't think about it, but my parents are just down the road, and they said, hey, whenever you get to do this, no problem. We'll come up, or But for this particular evening, I forgot, and Penny Lane's in there. I didn't want to bring her all the way down at 2 a.m. So as I sit here at 2:34 a.m. in my car, I apologize for the bad lighting. Next time it will be different, but hey, why not change things up a bit, have a little bit of fun?
I love it.
Yeah,
Thanks, boys.
I think it's great, man. I think it's great. I love the fact that it's a red light.
Yeah,
people just need to go and see what this mess looks like. It's,
And how
it's
about this,
absolutely
Ryan?
classic.
It's a Dodge Charger, and my horn is a Dukes of Hazzard horn. But I
Come
can't.
on.
No,
Yeah, I can't. If I put it off
Do it.
and it's really, really loud.
Yeah.
Like
Do
one
it.
thing, whatever that song is, Whistling Dixie or whatever.
yeah.
But it's really loud. Like you can
Okay.
hear it a mile away. So if I put it off now,
Yeah.
there'd be calls
Okay.
of the cops in my neighborhood. They're
Here's-
pissed off
here's what
about
we
it
can
as
do.
it is in the middle of the sunny day. Anyway, I'll play for you one day when there's an early game.
Well, here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow morning when you're up, and because it'll be reasonable time, I want you to honk your horn and I want you to record it on video.
Okay.
And then I want you to send that to me. I'll get it to Zuby and then he can drop it in right here at this
I love
point
it.
in the podcast. So we can
Okay.
do some post work on the podcast tonight.
I'm about to go on the ice. Let's see. I'll do it right now. I'm in my car. I don't have a video. Here we go. Wait. Can you hear this? There you go. Okay, here's one more. Should be clear. I'm just going in on the ice. I wanted to have a video and I kind of forgot. Anyway, here you go. Have a great day. I got your back.
Guys, great stuff. Thanks so much for taking the time, TR. Thank you for staying up late and joining us from the Red Light District. Looking forward to breaking down game number 2, guys. Still plenty more to come here on the podcast, folks. Stay with us. You're listening to Got Your Back, presented by DLR Vinyl Products. Hey, Struddy, question for you. Have you ever tried putting in your own fence?
I sure have. Between digging the posts, mixing up cement and digging the holes, it's absolute killer.
It's brutal on the back. Well, listen, what if I told you you could put in a fence without having to dig a hole or mix any concrete?
I'd be much more likely to come over and help you out.
Yeah, well, you're not the first guy I would call, but thank you for that. Listen, my brother's company, DLR Vinyl Products, they've come up with a system where you can actually put high-quality vinyl fence in the ground without having to dig a hole, without having to mix any concrete. They can teach do-it-yourselfers how to do it, and they can also work with contractors who might be looking to start installing vinyl. It's super high-quality product. The great thing about it is that it has fantastic longevity. You put it in, you don't have to worry about staining or sanding or anything like that. I've been lucky enough, Struddy. They've put in multiple fences in my different yards and they've built me 3 decks. I have totally abused the fact that my family is in the fencing and decking business, but it's great product. Give Rob a call in Calgary or Rick a call here in Edmonton. This is a company my dad started. It's a family business. I'm super proud of it, and I'm very proud that they are our title sponsors. That's DLR Vinyl Products in Edmonton and Calgary.
Hey, it's Ryan Rishaug. While many are feeling the sting of inventory shortages, Park Mazda has you covered. They've got new Mazdas arriving every month, including the redesigned 22CX5 in whatever color you're looking for. They've also got a huge selection of used vehicles with new arrivals every week and some of the most competitive interest rates on cars, trucks, SUVs, and more. Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park, off Y Road. Schedule a test drive at parkmazda.ca.
Time now for Duthie Dregs, brought to you by Belvan Construction, specializing in the design, planning, and construction of restaurants, office spaces, professional clinics, and retail spaces. Visit belvanconstruction.com. It has been all of a day and a half on the road together, and Dreger and I are just doing great, James. Hey, that's about all it takes is a day and a half with Dregs, and we've had it with one another. I don't know how you guys work in studio every day.
Do I have to stare at his the bed that he slept in and
Yeah.
did
I object.
Lord knows what things in all night? Like,
I've got a pile of laundry in the middle of my room. Would you rather look at that?
No, because you know what? All we can think about right now is episode whatever it was when we did hotel version.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe Zuby can go back in post-production and lay in the clip of what you said happens in hotel room and how often you are, I think his term was au naturel in the hotel room games?
Hold on.
How much are you au naturel in your hotel rooms, buddy? I don't think I want to know.
Shockingly, quite a bit.
Oh, God.
There was a bit of a kerfluffle when I checked in here in Denver because my room doesn't have a tub, doesn't have a bathtub.
Oh boy.
I need a bathtub. I'd like a bathtub.
For playoff series coverage of Stanley Cup final, I need my
What do you
Epsom
need a bath
salts.
for? What are you, 7?
You said that you sleep commando, right? Like you just sleep naked, right?
Well, not every single time, but yeah.
Well, did you last night in that bed that we can see behind you?
No, I didn't. No. Do you want me to go? I was actually going to put the Renaissance robe on just to.
Please do. I would like that viral moment. I would like viral moment for my amateur hour podcast. Yes.
I don't understand the concept, and I know you're not alone in this, but obviously there's times you need to be naked in bed, but when you're just sleeping, you roll over and stuff's flopping around and like it.
Yeah, there's a sense of freedom with that.
Like, I know Saks is not a sponsor of the podcast, but there's some nice, comfy things that keep everything nicely controlled, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
I never.
I guess it depends. It depends on the equipment that you're working with.
Okay.
Case, maybe.
Let's just move on. We're not going down this path. I do have some standards for this podcast. James, you have too much headroom. Can you fix your shot?
And what you want me to be closer?
Well, I don't know. No, like your head. You have too much headroom. You live and work in a studio where you get framed into shots every day. You know what it's supposed to look like. What's in the
box? We should do a segment called "What's in the Box."
Yeah, what's in the box? What is in the box?
Let's find out live on the air.
Seriously, you don't know what's in that box that you're about to open.
It's a collection of got her back.
From
it's not got her back. It's got your back. Jesus, you guys.
It's actually not. It's got your back.
Another
so you don't even know the name of it. Yeah.
What do you got there, James? The three of us are the only ones that are going to know what's in this box because there's nobody else listening at this point. But we might as well just follow through with this.
Can't open the box now, though. So you might want to start the segment, and then maybe at the end I'll do the reveal to keep people listening.
You can't get the box open.
Awesome.
This is good.
Look
at this guy.
It's a box of tidy whities to keep James comfortable in bed at night.
Why do I feel like this is going to be a shameless sponsor plug for James?
Air.
Oh,
what is it?
You got a new MacBook Day?
It's MacBook Day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's free. You know what that is, Ryan? That's free 99 from TSN. That's what that is.
So, by the way, I get a MacBook a couple weeks ago, and it doesn't work. I open it up, and it's it makes engine noises and all sorts of things. So I got a lemon. So I go back to the source is where I guess TSN buys its MacBooks from, which is weird to me. I don't know why we just buy them from Apple. And I don't go to the mall very often, but the source girl, she's having trouble getting into the thing because the computer is all messed up. 2.5 hours I stood in the source.
No, you didn't.
I'm not kidding you. On the phone with Apple, trying to figure out how she could reset the computer because she couldn't get into the computer and all that. After 2.5 hours, she goes, yeah, Apple says you're just going to have to go to them. So the Apple store is down the road there.
Oh my goodness.
That was it. So Nicole, our Mr. Wolf, our fixer, just said she's going to send the Mac back. And I got.
Well, that's what I was going to say, James. And I guess I kind of love you about this, that you don't know this, but you have people for that. You have people for that.
One person, really. I have one person.
And you're afraid of her.
She's very helpful.
Okay, enough of this nonsense. Let's get to talking about just a crazy game number one, guys. It just kind of, man, it had a little bit of everything. I was trying to think of what the headline is, and Dregs, you and I talked about it on air last night. And James, maybe I'll let you, having watched it from afar, if you were to put a headline on this game, mine was, Avalanche Stars showed up early and the Oilers Stars didn't. I mean, not a very catchy headline, but to me, that's what a big part of the story was. They were chasing it all night. What do you think?
Hockey world confused by call as Avs explode in game 1 victory or something like that. I don't know them either.
So it's about the call for you.
I think the talking point of everybody is the offside thing, but you're right. I just can't believe how similar it was to game 1 against Calgary. Like it's you watch that game against Calgary and say, oh, we'll never see a game like that for a few more years in the playoffs. And then we see the exact game essentially all over again. And it always fascinates me in hockey. Like the Oilers did an unbelievable job after that game, adjusting and playing the rest of the series terrific. And then this happens. And now if I just don't know how you can't. Maybe the Avs are a completely different beast, and we'll find that out over the next few games in the Flames. And my suspicion is they are to an extent. But, you come out after the game, we got to adjust. We got to adjust our D. Got to play better in goal, better in D. I just don't know why you can't do that before the first game. But I guess that's what first games are about, is that kind of nuttiness of figuring out the different animal that you're facing. Did that make sense?
We talked about it last night a fair amount. I know you've sort of been in a bit of contact here with the National Hockey League. You sense confidence from the NHL upon further review that they made the right call, that they're comfortable with where they were at?
Yeah, zero doubt. No doubt at all. And in fact, I was reminded this morning when I woke up, obviously paying attention to our coverage en masse at TSN, was that the linesman made the call, good goal on the ice. And so there was no overturning of the call. It was just a review process, which was initiated by the coach's challenge of the Edmonton Oilers that, allowed the National Hockey League to look closely at the video. And they 100% believe that they got the call right. And as we talked about last night, they feel like the only thing different about this is the fact that Cale Makar actually scored on the play. Like several times over the course of the year, you will see a delayed offside like this in the tag up rule that was employed last night. It's just you're trying to get into the head here of Cale Makar, right? And obviously the NHL gave him the benefit of the doubt in looking at that reverse angle and seeing that his stick for a split second was over the puck, right? As Nichushkin is exiting the zone, tagging up and going back in. So you're either on the side of those who believe that he did that with purpose, he being Cale Makar, which the NHL clearly is on the side of, or guys like you, Ryan, who don't believe that was the case and don't think that he is equipped as a superstar player in the National Hockey League to
listen to
execute
you.
a play like that.
Listen to you.
First of all, Dregs, I thought you did a great job covering last night. You used the word a couple times and he brilliantly did that. There is zero chance he knew what he was doing.
Thank you.
Pushing the puck over to stop Nichushkin, to letting Nichushkin.
Thank
So
you.
he lied to the media last night. Post
Yes.
He didn't really say that. He didn't say that.
He said he knew what he was doing and he knew his teammate was about to exit.
And then further on, he said, that's not what I read from reading the entirety of the transcript.
But of course he's going to say that, Dregs. What's he going to say? Yeah, no, I got lucky there. I had no clue what I was doing. He makes the linesman look dumb. He makes the review crew look stupid. Of course he's not going to say that. Continue, James.
Yeah, there's zero chance that he is. I mean, that's a level of brilliance that is beyond comprehension, that he's not even looking over. Okay. And in like it was an inch or two off the stick. So, I mean, he's an incredibly talented player. Bottom line is, I think you're right, Dregs. The call is correct according to the NHL's interpretation. No problem with that. And I talked to an NHL coach last night who agreed, said the exact same thing. His feeling was that Edmonton challenged too quickly.
Agreed.
And that if they'd waited and maybe seen that reverse angle or view, that they would not have challenged. And he thought that a bunch of different teams in the NHL would have gotten that wrong. He wasn't just putting it on the Oilers.
It happened really quickly, but just to interject here, because prior to, me and a couple of other media members being invited into the video room during the intermission, Kenny Holland went into that room. And I'm told that as soon as he saw the video replays, he was fine. He knew that now he wasn't throwing his video guy under the bus. Don't get me wrong. It was a split-second decision. And Ryan, you know this better than all of us. I mean, the video coach and that crew have done a remarkable job of getting these.
Yeah, Jeremy Kupal is his name. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But Kenny apparently, when he saw the video replay, he just went, "Yeah, I get it," and that was it. It was fine.
Well, I mean, I went in and I saw it too, and I think stop trying to crawl into Cale Makar's mind. Never mind that there was a player that needed to tag up. If you were to just take that play from Cale Makar and isolate that and show it to, 10,000 hockey people and say, does that player have possession of that puck at all times? I bet 95% would say, yeah, he's got possession of the puck. I mean, really, it boils down to what is and what is not defined as possession. And to me, that player had possession of that puck. Guys stick handle all the time, and the puck doesn't just stay on the stick, right? Sometimes for a split second, it's off the stick. They push it in front of them a little bit. I understand what the NHL is saying here. I don't know, James. I think you and I agree on this one that I just don't know that Cale Makar was that aware. And to the linesman, Dregs, I would say, because there's review now, linesmen, if it's even close, don't call offside. I don't believe that linesman was like, oh, here comes a tag up and oh, there it is. And oh, clean play. I think he was like, this is going to be close and left his whistle because that's what linesmen do now. So, I mean, respectfully, I think it makes for good podcasting. I think it's 2-on-1 and James and I are right and you're wrong, James. And I'll give you the last word, James. You're not allowed to talk about it anymore, Dregs.
I just think that
don't care anymore.
I don't know if there's a problem with the biggest problem is the offside reviews. I don't know the number, but it feels like 98% of them during the year are not tag up offsides, right?
Yeah.
Just guys going across the line. And so we're not as familiar. If you go back, you can find there was one Boston, Vancouver 2 years ago where the same call was made. So I think there's that part is the confusion. But if you have a situation where you have, as Ryan says, a large majority of people watching and knowledgeable people watching that don't understand it. And if you have players and other coaches not understanding it, then at worst, there has to be some sort of clarification of the rule or better wording in the rule book or something. But I'm not arguing that, again, by their interpretation of it, that they think they got it right. No problem with that. But then there's always a problem when there's this much confusion. Like there shouldn't be. You know what the fly in our ointment here, James, is? Mm-hmm. You and me in the case we're making, the fly in our ointment is Bobby Mack. Because Dregs last night, the Bob father was definitive, and he was definitive early on his opinion on that.
Right out of the gate. He came out with a hammer.
His tweet was like, tag up, thumbs up.
End of story.
End of story.
The most important thing here, and I think we've buried the lead. The fact
I asked you what the lead was.
Dregs and a couple of other reporters were chosen to pull into the room. I want to know how that process is like. Is there 100 reporters outside?
I got to go.
And it's like the Hunger Games. Hunger Games where, okay, Ryan.
No, you had to be told to go. Some of us
Dreger,
actually were there and went in because we were on the scene at the time.
Who else was chosen and who was excluded? And was there bitterness afterwards?
It's an exclusive club.
It was not. It was not. It was, trolling through the press box, looking for somebody from the video review room, seeing the director of officiating, Stephen Wackham, asking him to explain so that we could explain. And he said, just come on, just come with me. I'll show you.
I give them credit, Dregs. Like they opened the door because they knew it was going to be talked about. They wanted reporters to see. And as always, Dregs, you did a great job in breaking it down and providing that point of view. And it's not easy to stand on your side of it right now. So much respect.
Actually, I think I'm on the side of the majority. That's fine. But
I mean, your Twitter feed will be, if you were to tweet right call, I mean, your Twitter feed would be what it would be. And that's anyways, you're doing, you're calling it as you see it. So are James and I, and so did Bob.
As an aside, because you guys started talking about this and then we got derailed by this incident. Did you see the Gretzky quote, which again, the NHL forwarded based on his post game? I think it was his post game on TNT last night, where he acknowledged that, look, I'm the best offensive player living. And I don't know what I'm seeing here, but I'm not seeing any defense. And nobody's playing defense out there. Yeah. So I got to tell you, as entertaining as that game probably was for the 18,040 people inside Ball Arena and, the millions watching around in the NHL, for whatever reason, inexplicably, I found myself getting annoyed in the third period, not because the Oilers were mounting a pushback. We've seen that before, but I'm like, what kind of playoff nonsense are we watching here? You know?
Yeah, I don't disagree, man.
We had this discussion after the Calgary game that everyone's like, wow, what a crazy game. But at the end, you're kind of left with, like, it sounds insane. Like there were ages and years where we just screamed for more goals, particularly in the playoffs. But then it's almost like you get too much and you go, okay, this isn't even really hockey. It looks like shitty. I agree. I would take a close 3-2, 4-3 game over that any day, but it was still fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and so focusing in on Connor McDavid a little bit here, we watched him in game 6 and 7 of the first round. We watched what he did in the second round, the sheer number of points, the force of will, taking over games. And then you watch the first period of this game, and he's very human in the early going in this game. Now, they did an excellent job on him. I thought they played him tight. I thought they did a good job, but I thought his play came back down to earth in a big way last night. It just goes to show you how hard it is to do what he did in the last couple of rounds. But Dregs, for me, it was about, Connor McDavid backing his way into that hockey game a little bit, along with the rest of the Edmonton Oilers. And I thought Colorado showed up a little bit more ready to go, even though Edmonton got the first goal.
Yeah, it definitely looked like McDavid and Draisaitl were hoping the game was going to come to them early, much of the first period. Not alone in that sense. I mean, Darnell Nurse struggled through the game, but struggled a lot in that first period. Duncan Keith, not his finest performance. But yet again, we're looking at the end of the game, and you're seeing another multi-point game for McDavid, and you could see, his confidence certainly came back as the game went on, and they could sense that they were still very much in it. But they're going to have to start on time, because the Avalanche most definitely did. And, I can't remember the goal because there are 14 of them. You know what? It was the McDavid goal, in fact. Nice pass by Leon Draisaitl. I don't know if you guys noticed the reaction from Nathan McKinnon when that puck went into what was basically an empty net. He was sour. Yeah. And I'm like, holy smokes. And how do you measure the investment individually of one player versus another? We have seen historically that McKinnon can run hot, but they, being the Avalanche, Nate McKinnon, the Avs, they look more ready from puck drop than Connor McDavid and the Oilers.
What do you think of just their sheer speed and power, James?
Yeah, it's incredible. And again, I go back to those post-game comments where I think the Oilers can, go back to what happened against the Flames in game 1 and sort of build off of that. But I think they're dealing with a different animal. And that's no offense to the Flames, who are a really good hockey team, but Colorado has a different gear than any other team in the league. And so if you're the Oilers, I don't think you can just say, oh yeah, well, we'll figure it out like we did against the Flames. The Avs look like they have the potential to score 6, 7, 8 in every single game. Not saying they will, not saying that they will win the series, but it's a different beast to deal with. And I think this is the greatest, obviously not just from game 1 to game 2, but the rest of the series. This is the greatest adjustment challenge that the Oilers will face.
Yeah. I've been watching it all playoffs. They come out and they get dominated in game 1 in some way. It happened against the LA Kings a little bit, definitely happened against the Calgary Flames. And I remember after the second period of game 1, I'm thinking, like, this isn't even going to be a series. Like, this is so lopsided. It's kind of mind numbing. Yet this team finds a way to scrap its way back in game, and then they find a way to scrap themselves back in series. I think they're good at making adjustments, Dregs. I think Jay Woodcroft has shown himself fairly adept at sort of taking the punches and the losses, and he makes a couple little tweaks here and there, but more of the credit is to the players. They seem to bounce back really well, and that includes Mike Smith.
Yeah, and he's good. Jay Woodcroft is really good at trying to calm a market too, right? And how many times last night did he talk about, you score 6 goals, you need to win that hockey game?
Yeah, 4 different times he said it in his media availability. Yeah. We hung 6 goals on their goalies in their building over and over and over. He said it.
Yeah, and it's such an obvious storyline, and because of just the number of angles that needed to be covered last night, goaltending should be right near the top of the list going into game 2. Mike Smith has proven that he is a very solid bounce back type of goalie, right? But what about Darcy Kemper? You know, he's got the upper body injury. Is he going to be available for game 2? And if he isn't, you know, does Pavel Francouz give the Edmonton Oilers some form of advantage? Not to throw him under the bus, but all of a sudden now, you know, the Colorado Avalanche are thinking about it, as opposed to the Edmonton Oilers, who just expect that Smitty is going to come back and give them a grade A performance.
Yeah, I think that's a massive storyline, because that guy's got to be when you have Draisaitl and McDavid coming at you and Kane every single night. I think that's the one other part of this, is that Colorado might be thinking that they have to score, you know, 7 or 8 goals every night to win potentially. So game ones are funny. I tend to just toss them out the window all the time. Obviously, these are extreme circumstances, the game ones in the Calgary series and this series, but it just feels like a 60-minute, you know, speed dating thing of getting to know the guys, and then game 2 is usually completely different. So, but game 2 suddenly becomes, I don't think you're going to win 4 out of 5 against Colorado. So I think game 2 becomes a, you know, small M must win for the Oilers.
Yeah, and they've been in that position already in this postseason, and that's normally when Connor McDavid goes supernova. So it will be interesting to see. Pavel Francouz, by the way, played 4 games in the American Hockey League this year, 21 games in the National Hockey League. He was 15-5-1, .916 save percentage, and a 2.55 goals against average. He was one of those signings out of the KHL a couple of years ago. All right, that was Duthie and Dregs, brought to you by Belvan Construction, specializing in the design, planning, and construction of restaurants, office spaces, and professional clinics, retail spaces as well. So if you have any construction needs for your commercial space, visit belvanconstruction.com. James, what time is the tea time, my friend? What do you got going today?
No golf today. My daughter Darian's 21st birthday.
Nice.
So big day to celebrate Darian as she becomes legal in every American state.
Tequila shots or what?
Yeah, she'll be having her first drink.
Okay.
Her first drink.
Yeah.
Her first today.
You guys, well, that's great, James. Have fun with that. Congratulations. Do you guys ever just sip tequila? Like, have you ever just drank tequila as a drink and not a shot? Dregs, have you?
Yeah, I have. I'm not a big tequila guy. I'm more of a prairie whiskey dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have done that.
It's kind of sneaky, not bad. I had a buddy bring over like a decent bottle the other day, and
got to be good tequila. You know?
Yeah, it's got to be higher end stuff.
When I drink tequila, baby, I still see you.
Your clothes fall off
around the floor in a sorority T-shirt.
No,
the same one you wore when we were.
We're not going to do that.
Colorado.
I'm going to shut that down. Yeah, we'll Chris, can you edit that out in post?
Hey, by the way,
that was like guys, Dan and Shay or something. That's my wife's favorite band. Back off.
Before we wrap up, take a close look.
No.
Oh God.
Oh, look at it. It's all it's indented on the one side. Was that a hand towel?
I made it up.
That was a hand towel. There's a hand towel on the far side there.
I don't know what you're implying.
I'm not implying anything. You're going to buy me breakfast this morning, though. Hey, this is pathetic, James. I don't have the same status, so I have to go sneak in.
So I have to sneak them in.
Are you guys in cute little adjoining rooms or something?
Yeah. The door's open in between.
Rishaug's got alligator arms, right? They just don't quite get down there all the way to the pockets.
All right. I'll see you down in the lot. Like, it's pathetic. He actually has to beat me through with his card, so I get into this special little room and I can have the breakfast with all of the beautiful people.
Is this a Marriott? Are you Marriott Platinum or Ultimate or Titanium?
Don't divulge. Don't. Why would you say that? People are going to be flocking over here trying to get a glimpse of Ryan Rishaug.
Do you check in under an assumed name like one of our other commentators used to do?
Yeah, well, maybe one day, but no, definitely don't have to do that.
Thanks, guys. The host of the Scratch Your Back podcast? I can see it already.
Yeah, the disrespect towards this podcast is not going to be tolerated for much longer. You know, there are other people that would like to be part of this project and wouldn't abuse it as such.
Okay.
I don't know if you've been watching my right arm, but I've had the button on the leave button from this Zoom
Yeah,
call.
I agree.
And it's great. So let's get out.
Well, you started singing. I was ready to wrap it up, and you started.
I wasn't singing.
chanting
I
lyrics.
was reciting the lyrics to a Dan and Shay
All right.
song.
Hit the button. Honestly, get out of here. No one's
Okay.
asking you to stay. See you
Gotta go.
guys. We'll talk to you after game 2.
Swearing on the
Dregs,
Bible, baby, I never leave you.
Dregs, bring your card. I'll see you in a couple minutes.
All right,
Bye,
sounds
everybody.
When I
Bye.
drink
Painful.
baby, I still see.
If you're a business owner looking for a general contractor to build or renovate your business, no matter how big or small, Bell Van Construction should be your first call. Specializing in the design, planning, and construction of restaurants, office spaces, professional clinics, and retail spaces, Bell Van can assist you from start to finish. Learn more by going to bellvanconstruction.com.
Folks, golf season is just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but I am some kind of fired up over it. It's the perfect time to get yourself fitted for new clubs or some great new apparel. Well, DeBoers has you covered for all of it. Their facility is first class with amazing TrackMan technology in their simulators and top-of-the-field fitting specialists. You can order now for spring delivery, and they've also got a bunch of new 22 apparel for you to go check out. It's a fantastic group down there at DeBoers. The shop has a great positive feel. I highly recommend you check them out on the corner of 53rd Street and 99th Avenue. DeBoers, helping you play better golf since 1999. Average Joe's Sports Bar in Sherwood Park has proudly served the community and supported minor sports in the area for almost 20 years. It's a great gathering place for sports fans. Average Joe's has massive big screen TVs, comfortable seating, and a friendly staff waiting to make your experience anything but average. Come check it out on Baseline Road, right next to Home Depot, or make a reservation by calling 780-417-1113. That's Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park.
All right, folks, time now for Who's Got Your Back, brought to you by our good friends at DeBoers Golf Shop and Fitting Center. They've been serving Edmontonians with a love of golf for a long, long time now. They've got a fantastic staff down there, and if you've ever been there, you will see just how stocked up they are. They got all kinds of apparel, they got equipment. They've got a simulator in the back where you can go get your clubs fitted and your swing worked out. They got a great putting green. You can get your putting game worked out. They basically have everything you need. So if you love golf and you've never been there before, you absolutely have to give it a look. That's DeBoers, DEBOERS, Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Highly recommend it. We're going to go to the Average Joe's inbox for today's Got Your Back story. A little bit longer, but we have some time, so I thought I would take a minute and read it. Okay, this one says, my wife and I had 2 kids at the time, a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. My wife was currently a stay-at-home mom, so my job was our only source of income at the time. We had something wrong with our vehicle, and after taking it to the mechanic, found that it was going to be almost $1,000. And was something that needed to be done to make the car safe to drive with 2 kids at the time. It was an easy decision to make to get the repair done. My wife and I then began to stress and worry about how we were going to be able to pay for this repair, especially after buying Christmas gifts for our kids and family members. After a couple of days of worrying and stressing about this repair and cost, we got a call from the mechanic that it was all done and ready to be picked up. When we got to the mechanic shop, we were ready to see how much it was going to cost us, and we got a bill that was $0. The mechanic just said to us, "Merry Christmas." I couldn't believe that a complete stranger would do something like that for us, especially not knowing how stressed and worried we were about trying to afford that repair. That was a time that somebody definitely had my back. Thank you so much for that email. And that came to us from Anonymous. And a reminder, folks, that we want to hear from you. We haven't read a ton of stories. We've had lots of guests on the podcast in recent weeks, but we really do want to involve you in the podcast. And we love these stories. So send us an email to our Average Joe's inbox. That's gybpod@gmail.com. gybpod@gmail.com. And you can be part of the show too. Was there a time in your life where somebody came up big for you? Can be big, can be small, doesn't matter. Funny, goofy, serious, intense, whatever. There's a time in your life where somebody helped you out. Tell us about it so we can tell everybody else about it. Everybody loves hearing those stories. Thanks again for that email. That's going to wrap up the podcast, folks. A big thanks, as always, to our sponsors, DLR Vinyl Products. Those are our title sponsors, my brothers, Rick and Rob. Park Mazda, Mitch and the gang over at Park Mazda. Belvan Construction, DeBoer's Golf Shop, and Average Joe's Sports Bar in Sherwood Park. Thank you so much for your downloads. Thanks for your support, your subscriptions. We are on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Amazon. We are everywhere. So tell your friends about us. Give us a subscription. Download us. We're having a ton of fun. Can you believe it? The Oilers are in the third round of the playoffs. This is really something. And while it was a terrible start for them, I think we've seen that they're a pretty good bounce back team, and they will try and bounce back here in Denver for game number 2, and we will be here to watch it and then talk about it, and really looking forward to that. Have yourselves a fantastic day, folks. This is Got Your Back, and it's presented by DLR Vinyl Products. Have a great day.